Hi there, Scorpio. This is your weekly reading for the week of November 23rd. Thank you for your patience while we figured out which channel these videos would be uploaded to. You've probably noticed that my other YouTube channel, Rita Yanez, is missing over 700 videos, all of them. This was not a YouTube glitch. This was not a Google product glitch in any way. This is a separate tool that literally landed in my lap, and we had an opportunity to be able to check it out, do some research on it, and investigate it for information that we're going to give you next year after March. Now, with that said, don't worry about it, because even if you end up at the other channel, you'll still end up at Rita Yanez TV, and we will be able to get the content to you every which way and loose. Here on Monday, the card that you've drawn, Scorpio, is the Temperance card. This is a card that indicates that you're feeling like you finally are getting your groove on, that you know how to blend the different responsibilities in your life to have a balanced life where it's not too much work and no play, not too much play and not enough work, and time with your family versus your children, your significant other, your pets, extended family and friends, and so on. So you're finally feeling like you've arrived at a sense of being able to handle multiple responsibilities while still taking time out for yourself, which is very important. If you don't take time out for yourself and you're doing like a typical Scorpio and doing everything for everyone else, sooner or later you run out of steam and become resentful. On Tuesday, the card that you've drawn is the Eight of Pentacles upright. This is a card that indicates that work should be going well for you, that again, you have a good indication of a flow, a system, a protocol, a process. All of your household chores and every other procedure is now starting to move along like a very well-timed engine or a very well-oiled machine. Now, if you're not working actively, or you're saying, Rita, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, that's not the case. It's the same thing. Even if you're at home, even if you're retired and you work for a charity, or you donate your time to church functions, whatever it is that you do, this is just another good indication that what you're doing is satisfying to you, and that you don't feel like you're giving up one part or another of your life in order to do what is satisfying and gratifying for you, and what still makes you feel like you're lending a helping hand to your family and friends and being there when you're needing. We can't be everywhere at once, but once we get a protocol down, when we really have figured out how to get things to happen in order, whether through a system or just a to-do list, then of course we're more satisfied with the finished product, whether that is the way that your kids are taken care of, the way your housekeeping goes, the way that you manage your life and that of everyone else, or the way that you actually run your business or do your job. So great work. This is really a good sign. Wednesday, we've got the Hierophant, and this is where we've had this full moon in Gemini, and that is across from your second solar house of Sagittarius, where you are aware Saturn resides now for the duration. So when we have a full moon in the 8th house, first of all, we know that this is the house of what I call death, taxes, transformation, the inevitable, the fruits of the 7th house, relationships, partnerships, friendships, these very close kinships that we have with people, and or even if it's a case of, for example, divorce or the death of a spouse or something such as this, or the end of a partnership and you go solo from there on. This is where we're handling these issues, those which actually happen as a result of the other houses, but primarily the 8th house being a result of whatever the interactions and the different scenarios that the 7th house could hold. Now, this full moon is kind of cranky because it's in opposition to the Saturn in the 2nd house and the Sun in Sagittarius in the 2nd house as well. We'll talk about that where it applies to the different cards here, but the reality is with the Hierophant, which is a Saturnian card, gives me a good feeling that you've already been feeling this, the changes that other people could be going through, their sensitivities, their oversensitivities, and even their lack of bedside manner. So the Saturn emphasis with the Hierophant to me always reminds me of a person who's saying, do the right thing, do it the right way, don't take shortcuts, even if it is where you have to either think clearly outside the box or get back into the box because your thinking has become a little loosey-goosey, which I really don't anticipate with you, but I have to throw that in there because that's part of what the Hierophant's message can be on its own. With that said, whatever it is that this full moon is bringing to light probably has something to do with your second house, solar second house of Sagittarius, where we work with the material possessions, our goods, the things that we can buy, your couch, your makeup, your wardrobe, your tools in the shop, your Corvette, everything that you can buy with your money that usually is made as a result of the efforts in the sixth house or with your career. This is where the spotlight is. So I believe that the Tarot is asking you to take a good look at where your spending is, to keep your finances under control. You know how fun it is once you've been saving up, paying down debt, or that you've been working so hard to streamline your expenses, your finances in general, and then you have those like magic $20 that you really want to buy something with. Make a decision and think to yourself, look, I want to go buy myself and my friend a fast food lunch because we haven't done this in a year, and I feel that I deserve it and I don't have any other needs that I have to apply this to. That's fine. Now, if you know that you would feel better off, or it would be more prudent for you to put those $20 under the butter dish in the refrigerator for in case of an emergency, or if somebody in your family is out of an ATM card that they lost and they just need some cash for gas, whatever it is, that's a decision that only you could make. But I believe that your finances are well on their way to being much more stable and streamlined because you've learned a lot during Saturn's tour through Scorpio. There was no doubt that you learned a whole lot about what you want to do more of, what you want to enjoy more in life, which of course means that we've had to rein in some of our life lessons and really get in tune with them to understand what we're doing. Also, with the sun there in Sagittarius opposing that full moon in Gemini, other people's sensibilities, could be a little bit off time. So I think the best thing is to just get through the holiday week, enjoying people, giving thanks for living in a safe country, if that's where you are, praying for those who don't have the benefit of the safety of a sane and safe country, praying for the victims, surviving family members. We know that the victims of even these horrible, insane terroristic acts in the name of religion, right? That those people that went home a little early are fine. I believe that firmly, they are in the arms of the angels and with their loved ones over there waiting for us. And we know the people suffering are the people left here. And that's okay. We don't give in to fear. We just don't want to have anything to do with that kind of crazy. But we recognize that there are people that cannot get out of these situations and they're in danger. Me, I wish I could just gather up every innocent soul and take them into my home and keep them safe and sound and get them rehabilitated from that kind of crazy. But then again, evolution is what it is. People evolve, the world evolves, life evolves, and then there's always going to be one group of individuals that just cannot let people do what they believe they should or shouldn't do, or believe in something or not believe at all, right? So give thanks on Thanksgiving. And I suggest that if any political conversations come up or somebody asks you for your opinion about some political candidate, or geez, Donald Trump, if anything comes up that just could really, you could say something that's absolutely true and your perspective based on your point of view and your opinions, that there's always going to be the one person that has a heart attack and blames everything on this president or that thing or this country or that. That's not really dinner time conversation. Keep it light, keep it familial, keep it happy. And if people start to go crazy, then use my tagline and just suddenly develop a case of explosive diarrhea. Get the hell out of there. On Thursday, we've got the King of Wands in reverse. And this is a card that is often a person, probably a male, could be a masculine female, who isn't necessarily a fire sign, but they have that kind of energy. Think Leo, think Aries, think Sagittarius, but not always necessarily. Now, the problem with this guy is that in his reversed position here, this is a person who is either easily angered and irritable, or they're just a person that talks big and wants to say all kinds of things about the plans they've got, and they're going to do this and build a $2 million mansion because they're going to suddenly become famous rapping. And we're like, yeah, okay, that's great. But, this is a person who is maybe talking the talk and not even walking the walk because they're not doing anything to get to the point that they're talking about. So with that said, if there's an individual in your life or in the realm, this is a pretty flaky person. My only caution with him is that he has a tendency to lose his temper. And if you're around anybody that could act like that, try to limit your exposure. Definitely if you have children and somebody's about to go dysfunctional at a family function, then again, explosive diarrhea, somebody's vomiting, bent over, broke a leg, whatever has to happen. On Friday, we have the Two of Cups, and this is a card that is great, indicating that there is a more harmonious feel to the energy around you. It doesn't have to necessarily be about meeting somebody who could be a great romantic interest or finding your next best friend. This is, in my opinion, more of the energy of people getting along more harmoniously. And maybe it will be when you're not in Aunt Gertrude's kitchen where people are starting to throw knives at each other. On Saturday, we have the Page of Pentacles upright, which indicates that there should be some good news coming to you, either about an opportunity or something related to finances or actually related to real property, including real estate and other kinds of real property. And this could be news about one of your children who may be an earth sign, or somebody in your life, a young person close to you. It doesn't have to actually be your son or daughter. It could be grandsons. It could be step children's children. And so this would probably be about an earth sign child, and that would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or they come across as very settled, a little mature from their for their age, and you realize that this is a person who actually has a lot more centered energy than a child that age should. You know, there's some kids that are just kind of born mature. That's what this person is like. Also, if this is a message from the environment that you've been hoping for, some news about a job or some news about a contract negotiation, then of course pay attention to what the messages are, because it could be good news. It could end up in your spam folder. So remember, that's not because of any retrograde motion. To me, this is just because that's the kind of thing we have to watch for, right? Just because the planets are direct, or this one's going direct, or here comes Chiron, and you think that this is going to solve your computer bug issues, always look in your spam folder to make sure there isn't something that you need. Now, on Sunday, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse, and this is a card that indicates that some of the negotiations or the details of a contract or agreement are not exactly what they should be. Now, if you've already signed this contract, it is what it is. You can try to ask if something can be changed or reworded. There's no harm in this, but the main issue here is that it seems like it kind of gets off on a running start, and then we hit a snag with some kind of an agreement or communication. So my suggestion is this: there isn't anything in November that needs to be completed before the end of the month. We've got energy that's all about adjustment energy, and then of course next month in December, about mid-month, we're going to go into Mercury retrograde pre-shadow. And so it doesn't mean that, December is going to be screwed, but, of course, if you're going shopping for Black Friday, this and that, because of this Ace of Swords in particular, I would make sure that whatever you're buying is what it's advertised to be. Make sure that if you end up at a swap meet or something, that you're aware that there could be counterfeit property, counterfeit items. You could be buying bootleg music or bootleg this and that, and it's not even the quality that you would have expected. And the reason why I say this is because of this Neptune square Saturn that is being stimulated again, which in your case, it has to do with your 5th solar house, which is Pisces, and then of course with your Saturn in 2nd solar house. So we have the energy here where something could be not what it appears. And even though Chiron and also Neptune are going direct, we want to make sure that we keep our eyes open. Make sure that you hang on to your receipts. Make sure that you keep track of your credit cards. Make sure you keep track of your debit cards. If you have to go out alone before you get in your vehicle, especially if you're getting in there at night, but always look in your back seat. Make sure that there's no one hiding there, jumping out to get you. It's not the energy of anything particular that makes me say that about your safety. That's just something that you should be doing anyway. But there is kind of a problem here with a little bit of this illusion left where, it's kind of like the famous face cream kind of selling point. You're going to look 40 years younger. It doesn't matter that you're 43, but this is kind of where you have to keep in mind that you need to keep that receipt, because if the item doesn't live up to your expectations or isn't as described, etc., you need to be able to return it. I will tell you that it's going to be a great December. We've got a new moon in Leo, which is your solar 10th house, right at the top of your sky, and that's all about getting ready for the next phase of your life, feeling great about it, knowing that good things are coming to you. For those of you that are waiting to hear good news on a job or a contract extension, etc., some kind of negotiation going through, you might get word of it here. So of course, the sooner it is before the Mercury retrograde actually happens in January, the better. Sometimes we have to take our chances because we can't time our entire lives to astrology or live by the tarot. These are tools that we hope we get the wisdom from as we bump into it. But as it is, life is like a box of chocolates, and I hope you get good ones this Christmas too. So happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your patience, and I look forward to talking to you again.